All right, I ain't never heard of Pastor Mike, but he's spitting right now.
This is why you got to have a mature person in your life who can tell your story right. Because if I was immature, I would say Saul and David beefing. But Saul and David ain't beefing.
David
Saul
ain't had
got
no
a problem
beef.
with
David had
David.
no
David
quarrel.
ain't got no problem with Saul. See, that's why 6 people got your testimony twisted, because they say, I heard y'all don't like each other. No, I don't know them not to like them. No, something about...
Yo, I hate when people come to me and say, so I heard there's a problem between you and so-and-so. If you ain't hear it from me, nigga, I ain't got no problem. You feel me? It's like, nah, they got a problem with me. They was complaining about something. If I didn't voice a complaint to you, don't say I got a problem with nobody, dog, because I don't.
My favor offended them. They got a problem with me. I ain't got no... That's for 3 co-workers, 2 cousins, and your old friends who think you sitting around thinking about them. I'm not thinking about you. I'm about what God called me to be right now. David has not disrespected Saul. David never disrespected Saul. David never disrespected Saul. David never disrespected Saul. What are you talking about? He did nothing. Saul's issue with David ain't because of what David did to him.
I love the fact that he reiterated that so many times, because Saul literally was coming for this man's life because he felt some type of way. He was angry with him. And he just reiterated 5 times. David literally never did one thing to cross him, to disrespect him, to insult him, nothing. Yet the story ended up with Saul hunting for this man's head.
It's because people started seeing David in a different light than they say Saul. They said Saul killed his thousands, but David killed his tens of thousands. Saul couldn't handle that the favor on David's life started making other people say, that boy got something that he ain't got. Please stop judging me based off of what God put on me. If I ain't did nothing to you to offend you, it's not my fault. I'm favored, gifted, and anointed. I need you to touch 3 people and tell them it's not my fault. I didn't decide to be favored. I didn't pick this anointing. You got better clothes than me. You got a better car than me. You make more money than me. Yet you still worried about me because the anointing on my life hit different.
Yo, in the comments, let me know. Have you ever had somebody like competing with you or like worried about what you had going on, but literally they make more bread than you, they drive a better car, they live in a better neighborhood, they went to better schools? It's like, bro, where's the competition? I'm just literally stepping in the things that I'm supposed to be doing and that I enjoy. Where's the competition? Like, why are we competing anyway? I always think that's so crazy. Like, how do you have more than somebody but still envy them, or you're still jealous of them, or you're still looking down on them? That's asinine to me. Like, Saul was literally the king of the land, worried about a soldier. Why are you worried about what a soldier is doing, dog? You could literally take his whole existence out in one command.
Saul, David ain't did nothing but honor Saul. David come in Saul's presence. He started worshiping, playing his harp, trying to help him. David worshiping. Saul picks out a spear, throws the spear at David. It missed. You want to know why certain people frustrated with you? Because how you taking shots and they miss. See, some of y'all spend too much time throwing shots back. No, the greatest thing you can do to somebody throwing shots at you is to live your life in a way that show them it missed. I don't know who I'm preaching to. All the super saints.
You feel me? Nothing makes somebody more upset than them actually trying to get under your skin or trying to hold you back or inhibit you. And not only do you hardly register it, you don't respond, but it also doesn't work. So it just goes to show them, like, you are obsolete. You might as well just stop. There's nothing that you can do or say to sway what is going on. I think that's so funny. Me personally, I'm never the type to try and get back or get revenge. Almost any situation where I've had somebody like taking shots at me where I know I didn't do anything and I didn't retaliate, it always ends with them coming back and apologizing or having to work on my behalf in the future, right? This is why I never even worry about getting revenge for what? In the Bible, it says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, right? And so I just give it to him because he gonna handle it way better than I even can. And that's for certain.
Hey, folks, you can sit still, but if it's some stuff that's missed you, you ought to just bust a 360 and say, it missed. Pain missed me. Hurt missed me. Your lies missed me. Your disrespect missed me.
It's always so crazy when people purposefully, blatantly lie on you, disrespect you, and betray you, and none of it hinders you, and they're the one who ends up in a deficit or a negative position. Because like right here with the story of Saul and David, Saul was the king, David was a soldier, and he was a musician, right? And he was coming up under the ranks of Saul's leadership, right? But David was already anointed by God and was told he was going to be the king when he was still a child, right? He was a child who was professed to be walking into greatness. And as he got older, the current king literally just started to despise him, hate him. He tried to take him out multiple times. Literally, dude said he would come into the presence of Saul, the king, and he would play his music. He would play his harp. You feel me? He would sing his songs. One day, he's literally praising the Lord in the presence of the king, and the king tried to off this man, threw a spear at his head, and he missed, which made him even more mad. He already was mad at the guy just because he was anointed. And so one thing, they would go into battle, right? And it was like Saul killed thousands of men. David slayed tens of thousands of men by himself. And so he was still just a soldier. The king's coming back, you feel me? Sword in hand, head in the other. And he's like, yeah. And then once all the people come around, the soldiers get to talking amongst the soldiers. And they say, yeah, Saul killed 1,000. But they're like, but David took out 10,000. And so Saul's like, oh, bet you want to overshadow me? Okay, cool. Right? And then David, he sings, he worships. If you read the book of Psalms, Psalms is a book of prayers and songs. David wrote a lot of the Psalms. So he was a very prominent songwriter of the time. And then he played multiple instruments and he could sing, right? So the king is sitting there like, damn, not only is he good with the sword, but dude got some vocals. He know how to write songs. Man. And he just gets even more jealous of the fact that people are not even praising David, just acknowledging his good works and his talents. The king becomes so beside himself that he begins missing sleep, missing meals. Like he literally drives himself insane by trying to figure out how he can get rid of David and take him out. If you read the book, Saul literally ends up in a cave, eating rocks and scraps and shit, because he drives himself so crazy due to his jealousy and envy of David. Asinine, dog. But look, I just tell people the Bible can be applied to everyday real life today, right? Sauls exist. Jealous people exist. Envious people exist. People who are going to try to take your spot and your position just because they can't have it. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't wrong them. You didn't disrespect them. You didn't hurt them. You didn't slight them at all. They're just jealous because they can't do what you do. That's it. That's all. And that people look at you in a way that they don't look at them. But it's not your fault. You feel me? Your gifts, your talents, your blessings came from God. Whatever it is that you're meant to do on this earth came from God. So people who look at what you're doing and become jealous of it are jealous of God. They're going against God, which is another reason why Saul ended up driving himself mad. You cannot go against God and be successful. That's why I don't worry about getting revenge. I pray to God. I ask him to move me, to move my hand, to make my decisions. And if he's the one making my decisions and putting in my mind what it is I'm supposed to be doing, anybody who's trying to hinder me is in the wrong. I don't have to get revenge. You fucked up by coming for me because I was just doing what God told me to do from the beginning. You feel me? And that's wholeheartedly how I live my life. Like if I ever get in a disagreement, argument, a fight, anything, I do not retaliate. The first thing I do is say, I'm gonna be quiet. God, forgive me if I did anything wrong. Forgive me if I misspoke. Forgive me if I insulted or hurt them. What is it that I'm supposed to be doing in this moment, in this interaction, in this time in my life? What is going to work for the positive good of the bigger picture? And once I have an answer to that in that manner, I don't really worry about the actions that I'm taking because I ask God to lead my steps. I ask God to put me in the positions I'm supposed to be in, even if it's a negative position. Even if I'm in a circumstance where someone lied on me and I know they're lying on me and people are believing the lie, as opposed to running to that person and saying, "Why are you lying on me?" They know that they're lying, dog. They chose to lie when they did it. So trying to reason with them is already out the window. Again, like I said, God is not the God of confusion, right? Lies cause confusion. So clearly, if this person is operating under lies and manipulation, they're not of God. I don't entertain demons, dog. Demons is a low energy, right? It's a negative energy, a low vibrational entity. I'm not necessarily talking about a little imp running around through this person. No, it's low energy, dog. Negative vibrations. I'm not here for it. I operate in positive only. So if someone is lying on me, I'm not going to come down from my positive place in order to entertain a lower vibration. And lies are from the devil, the father of deceit. I don't entertain the devil nor deceit. So keep lying. God got it. The truth will come through, bro. And if you are lying on me and it's taking me out of a position that I thought was meant for me, like I said in the very beginning, I asked God to align me with where I'm supposed to be and what's supposed to be in my life. So if you did tell a lie that put me in a position that I wasn't aiming for, that means God wanted me here anyway. There's something for me to be getting from this. There's a lesson within it, right? With David and Saul, David got to see the firsthand account of somebody being jealous and envious of him while he was still subservient. So once he became the king, he knew what it looked like when someone was growing full of deceit, growing full of envy. He also learned how to be wise in his movements and not overshadow and outshine people on a regular basis. You feel me? So like while the king was coming for his life, David was still able to learn, and he was still doing what God called him to do. Even though Saul started headhunting for him, he didn't say, "I'm going to retaliate." He didn't say, "I'm going to flee," because he knew the land was supposed to be his. He was supposed to be the king. If he left because the king was trying to get rid of him, would he have ever stepped into his own kingship? Would he have ever stepped into his true authority? Maybe not. You feel me? If he had tried to retaliate against the king, he for surely would have been offed and never stepped into his leadership position. Instead, he stayed humble and he still showed up to play songs for him, to sing for him. He still worshiped. He still served. He showed up in the way he was called to until his appointed time. You feel me? As if you remember the story of David, David is the one who swung the rock and knocked Goliath out. Where did he come from before that? He was the shepherd tending the flock, bro. His brothers was in the army, right? He was in the field, bruh, with sheep at 12, 13, 14. And at that point in time, it was announced that he would step into leadership. And then they sent him back into the fields to go play the harp with the sheep. And still, 20 years old, he's still playing this role, knowing God has anointed him and called him to something higher. But he's going to serve under the king. He's going to serve in the army. And even once the king started trying to take him out, he didn't let that sway him from where God called him to be. He held tight on his position until his time came. So look, I'm going to end this with this. Let him talk. Let him paint you out to be whatever. You feel me? Don't fight it. It is what it is. You feel me? The devil is the author of lies. So we don't even entertain that. We lean into God. We ask him to anoint our footsteps and to allow us to fulfill what he has for us. And anybody trying to hinder that he removes them from the way. And like I said, he handles things way better than I ever could. He's going to get to the root of the issue and not just the logical thinking of the person who might not even give a fuck, right? Excuse my language. You know, a lot of people, you can't be cussing and talking about God in the same breath. Look, I just did. And he still love me. I'll do better. Diesel out, y'all. Have a good Monday. I didn't even expect all this to happen. This all arose from a 2-minute TikTok video where I just felt like the word resonated.